Are you guys ready to see the most brutal Star Wars weapons ever made? Well, let's take a look at them. Alright, so here they are, the Regal robot Gaffi Stick replicas from both A New Hope and The Mandalorian. And guys, I'm super excited to check these out because technically these are the first licensed prop replica weapons that have come out, I think, since 2016, to be honest, right? Since Prop Shop. So I'm really excited to see these. Now, obviously, these are officially licensed replicas. Now, what is missing in mine here is a certificate of authenticity. And that's because Regal Robot was kind enough to send me these ahead of the release date. So I was able to check them out, review them, give you guys an exclusive sneak peek at what's to come. And these will be up on Regal Robot's website for pre-order on Wednesday, February 15th at 12 p.m. Eastern Time, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So you want to make sure you jump on there early because these will sell out. Now, these will be limited edition to only 150 of each. The A New Hope one is going to be a signature edition, and the Mandalorian one is going to be a standard edition. But again, only 150 of these are going to be made, so make sure you jump on regalrobot.com and order these early because I anticipate they will sell out. So these stands will be included and they're super easy to put together. You really don't need instructions, but hey, if you need them, they're there. Like I mentioned, the New Hope Hero version is going to be a signature edition. It's going to be autographed by Roger Christian. Now, Roger Christian is literally the godfather of Star Wars weapons, because he's the one who found the graphics to make the lightsabers. He's the one who made Han Solo's gun. He's the one who made these Gaffi sticks. I mean, you name it. He even made the first R2-D2 out of wood and a lampshade. This guy's a legend. Now, one of the cool things about this hero Gaffi stick from A New Hope is that Regal Robot got to go into the Lucasfilm archives and digitally scan the original screen-used hero prop. Now, when they got in there, they realized that, throughout the years, parts had been broken, so they had to do a lot of investigation in the archives to, find the references to get it back to its original glory. Here's a little snippet from Tom Spina's interview with Roger Christian, and you could hear the full interview on Regal Robot's YouTube page, but here's a little snippet of Tom explaining that process.
There's photos of it that kind of show the progression. At some point, it broke on set, and then someone put it back together, and the point changed a little bit. So just did a quick repair. By the time it gets to the archives where we have it, the point's a little different. But what's interesting was Bapti must have kept the mold from it, or had made a mold, because they had done the Rancor Keeper's Gaffi stick for Return of the Jedi, and the archives has one of those. So when we did our 3D scanning of it, we 3D scanned the hero prop that you put together, and then we scanned the point off of the Rancor Keeper one so that we could digitally fix what they had fixed, basically turn the hands back on the clock a little bit. But these are the details that we wind up having to explore. It's like archaeology.
And it really is like archaeology, not just because they went into the archives and did that investigation, but because the original props were actually made from a Tatokia, which is a Fijian war club. So basically what happened is Roger Christian found a Tatokia at a prop rental house, Bapti, and combined that with a metal mace to make the prop for the film. So it's really cool because it's a real artifact, basically, right? So it's so cool that you get to see this kind of mixture of, real ancient weapons and this metallic look to kind of really bring it into Star Wars. So not only does the A New Hope version have this cool background, but so does the Mandalorian version. And in fact, Tom Spina Designs and their studio provided the Totokyo castings for the original show props for the Mandalorian and some of the background ones for the Book of Boba Fett. Now, these props are huge, and they're pretty heavy as well, especially the A New Hope one, because the spike is actually full metal, and it actually weighs quite a bit. It's probably about 15 pounds. And what kind of Star Wars fan would I be if I didn't do this? So here they are on display, and man, they look so beautiful. I mean, they literally look like they belong in a museum. Now, as far as the size, I measured it, and it's about 54 inches long. Both of them are about the same, and about 12 inches high with the display stand. So keep that in mind, obviously, when you're purchasing these for, obviously, display purposes. Now, the New Hope version is actually the Gaffi Stick that's based on the hero prop that's in the Tunisia scene where Luke gets attacked, right? So it's kind of that iconic scene that we all remember where, you know, the Tusken Raider puts the Gaffi above his head right after attacking Luke. So talk about iconic, right? And again, this was digitally scanned from that original prop. So both the bodies are made out of resin, but the New Hope spike is all metallic, like I mentioned before, which just gives it just this more realistic feel. Now, the Mandalorian one is also made pretty similarly, right, with the resin body, but the spike is actually resin on the Mandalorian one. And again, that explains why it's so much lighter than the New Hope version. Now, the Mandalorian one has obviously lineage to the show, and it's the one that the Tusken Raiders are holding kind of in the background. Now, this is not the one that Boba Fett has. So, again, I'm going to repeat it. This is not the Boba Fett version. This is the background version that the Tusken Raiders have in the Mandalorian show, which Tom Spina Designs actually created them for the show. Now, the Hero A New Hope signature version is going to be $1,999, and the Mandalorian one is going to be $1,399. That's $1,399, obviously plus shipping and handling. And Regal Robot's going to offer a 12-month payment plan for these, so it makes it a little bit easier on the wallet. Now, speaking of price point, I want to talk to, the high-end collectors, collector to collector here, because I'm very involved in the community, and it is a very small niche community. And one of the biggest reservations that I've heard, from collectors is the price point. Is, $2,000 too much for this? I'm telling you guys, having these in hand, I'm telling you, it is not. It is a piece of art. It is literally a piece of history that you have in your hand. Not only that, but you get Roger Christian's autograph on this, and the quality, the weight, it just feels like a real weapon. Not only that, but I want to kind of bring you guys back to 2016 and, Prop Shop. Right? When Prop Shop came out, everyone was complaining about the prices, right? Everyone's like, what? $1,250 for a 3D printed Ray staff or a 3D printed Kylo Ren lightsaber. That is insane, right? That was the biggest complaint back then. And guess what? A few years later, people are paying $10,000 for those props. And now if you can find one out there, you're one of the lucky ones because they're highly sought after. So keep that in mind. Even though you think $2,000 may seem like a lot, I'm telling you this, collector to collector, it is such an amazing piece that you do not want to miss out, because again, there's only going to be 150 of these, and you're going to regret it 5 years from now, 10 years from now, when you realize this is the only licensed prop replica that is highly detailed and accurate to the screen use prop, and you're going to end up paying 2 times, 3 times, maybe more for that prop in the aftermarket. So I'm just telling you guys, 150 of these, they will sell out, and I just don't want you guys to regret not picking one of these up just because, you didn't agree on the price point. But anyways, that's just me speaking, collector to collector. So let's get back to looking at these amazing props. Now, one of the coolest features on both of these is actually the wooden part, which is not even wood, right? It's resin, which it's mind-blowing how talented the folks over at Regal Robot are. Because if I were to grab this weapon, there is no chance I would ever know it's resin. It looks like wood. It feels like wood. And I mean, the paint job is just beautiful. So, and especially all of the carvings, right? Now, keep in mind, obviously this was scanned and it was, it was molded. So all those little parts and imperfections are in there, which is what makes this piece so great. Like I said, you could even see like wood grain, which, I mean, obviously, I'm sure it's part of the mold, it came from the mold, but I mean, it just looks like real wood. And the way they painted it, it would fool anybody out there. As you can see, the A New Hope one is a little bit darker than the Mandalorian one. The Mandalorian one tends to be a little more reddish, right? It's a little lighter brown. The pineapple top or pineapple tip is also a little bit different, as you can see there. The Mandalorian one is a little more just kind of defined, a little more symmetrical, as opposed to the A New Hope one is just kind of, beat up, kind of, right? I mean, not really beat up. It's not as symmetrical, it's not as perfect as the Mandalorian one. But man, look at that. Look at the engravings on there. It is just such a beautiful piece. Like I said, the A New Hope one actually has welded parts on there. So the spike is metal, and those are real welds, and it also comes with the plaques. The Mandalorian one's going to come with the plaque as well, but it's just a standard plaque. And then the A New Hope Hero one is going to come with Roger Christian's autograph. And you just got to have his autograph. Any Star Wars collector out there that appreciates the weapons and appreciates the work that Roger did needs to have his autograph somewhere in your collection. So that does come with that. And like I said, there's a really good interview that Tom Spina did with Roger Christian over on Regal Robot's YouTube page. Highly recommend checking it out. I really love that Regal Robot's been putting out these interviews with all the recent pieces that they've been putting out. You just get to learn so much more about the prop, and it just gives you more, a sense of appreciation because you learn all of the history behind the prop. So yeah, definitely recommend checking those out. Now, one thing that I did fail to mention is that these will ship in a double corrugated box with die-cut ESP foam inserts. Now, the box is big, and the New Hope one is pretty heavy. So, just keep that in mind when, you're picking it up. If it gets dropped off at, UPS or the post office, make sure you bring a big enough car to accommodate that. And check out the detail too on the Mandalorian spike, right? You could still see a lot of the, I don't know what they use, maybe putty, maybe, I don't know. But whatever it was that they used for the show, you could still see it on there. And again, that's what I really appreciate about these type of pieces is that I want to see the imperfections. I want to see the little, things that only you'd only be able to see if you saw the one in the Lucasfilm archives, right? Because basically what this archive collection is doing is bringing the archives into our homes. And this is one of those examples of just such a beautiful prop replica that looks like it should just be in the archives, right? Or in a museum. Now remember, these go on sale February 15th, 2023 at 12 p.m. Eastern Time, 9 a.m. Pacific Time. So it's really easy to remember because it's the day after Valentine's Day. And in fact, what better Valentine's Day gift to give your significant other than a Gaffi stick? I mean, wow. That says love right there. But all kidding aside, guys, I get it. It is expensive. Almost $2,000 for the A New Hope one, almost $1,400 for the Mandalorian one. And I'm not saying this just because this is a sponsored video. I'm honestly telling you this from the bottom of my heart. You don't want to miss out on this. This is such a great piece, and it's definitely worth the money, and you're going to regret not getting it if you don't. So I hope you enjoyed this review. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, share, comment, and keep an eye out for the next one. Thanks, guys.